Now, the title of this book will grab you. It is Faith, Purpose, and Politics, Running the Race of My Life. Immediately, I was captivated. Tell me about how you chose your title.
Oh, I don't think I chose this title. It just came to me, and because I know I was in the race of my life. Reparations is a fight that we're gonna have to be boots on the ground. We have to be everywhere and somewhere all the time. It's on the website now. The GoFundMe is on the website to raise money to get a little RV in order to stay on the road in this fight for reparations. All right, you know what time it is. It is Keeping Up with Congress. All right, let's dive into these committee meetings. February the 12th, 9:30 a.m. Business meeting to consider S128 to require the administrator of the Small Business Administration to relocate 30% of the employees assigned to headquarters to duty stations outside the Washington metropolitan area. S30 to improve accountability in the disaster loan program of the Small Business Administration. S131 to require certain reports on small business disaster assistance to be published on the website of the Small Business Administration and committee rules for the 119th Congress. February the 12th at 10 o'clock a.m., H.R. 231, Representative Hagman, Colorado River Basin System Conservation Extension Act of 2025, H.R. 249, Representative Pallone, to redesignate certain facilities at Patterson Great Falls National Historic Park in honor of Congressman Bill Pascrell, Jr., H.R. 302, Representative Malloy, Water Rights Protection Act of 2025, H.R. 331, Representative Fulcher, to amend the Aquifer Recharge Flexibility Act to clarify a provision relating to conveyances for aquifer recharge purposes. H.R. 618, Representative Horace Ford, to amend the Apex Project Nevada Land Transfer and Authorization Act of 1989 to include the city of North Las Vegas in the Apex Industrial Park Owners Association and for other purposes. H.R. 1001, Representative Hagman, to provide for a memorandum of understanding to address the impacts of a certain record of decision on the Upper Colorado River Basin Fund. H.R. 1044, Representative Belladio, to amend Public Law 99-338 with respect to CAWIA project permits. H.R. 110, Representative LaMalfa, Grazing for Wildfire Risk Reduction Act, the House Committee on Natural Resources, the 119th Congress Authorization and Oversight Plan. A lot happening in that meeting, February the 12th at 10 o'clock a.m. February the 12th, another meeting at 10 o'clock a.m., the War on Waste, stamping out the scourge of improper payments and fraud. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., the Censorship Industrial Complex. February the 10th, 10 o'clock a.m., the Federal Reserve's Semi-Annual Monetary Policy Report. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., Subcommittee on Energy, from Transformative Science to Technological Breakthroughs, DOE's National Laboratories. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., hearings to examine the Arctic and Greenland's geostrategic importance to the U.S. interests. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m. is hearings to examine the nomination of Lori Chavez DeRimmer of Oregon to be Secretary of Labor. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., hearings to examine advancing carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration technologies and ensuring effective implementation of the U.S. IT Act, Use It Act. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., full committee hearing part 2. It's the committee funding for the 119th Congress. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., the driving economic growth, SBA lending programs, and the vital role of community banks. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., career-ready students, innovations from community colleges and the private sector. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., business meeting to mark up the concurrent resolution on the budget for fiscal year 2025. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., AI in manufacturing, securing American leadership in manufacturing and the next generation of technologies. February the 12th, 10 o'clock a.m., America Builds, a review of programs to address roadway safety. February the 12th, 10:15 a.m., hearings to examine pending nominations. February the 12th, 10:15 a.m., H.R. 1048, the Deterrent Act. H.R. 649, the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act of 2025. H.R. 1069, the Protect Our Kids Act. H.R. 1005, the Class Act. And H.R. 1049, the Transparency and Reporting of Adversarial Contributions to Education Act. February the 12th, 2 o'clock p.m., oversight hearing titled Leaving Indian Children Behind, Reviewing the State of BIE Schools. February the 12th, 2:15 p.m., Roles and Responsibilities Evaluating VA Community Care. February the 12th, 2:30 p.m., to receive a closed briefing on certain intelligence matters. February the 12th, 2:30 p.m., an oversight hearing to examine Native communities' priorities for the 119th Congress. February the 12th, 3:30 p.m. is hearings to examine optimizing longevity from research to action. February the 13th, 8:30 a.m., the U.S. aid betrayal. February the 13th, 9 o'clock a.m., business meeting to consider the nomination of Kashyap Patel of Nevada to be Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Justice. February the 13th, 9:30 a.m., hearings to examine the posture of the United States Northern Command and United States Southern Command in review of the defense authorization request for fiscal year 2026 and the future year's defense program, to be immediately followed by a closed session. February the 13th, 9:30 a.m. is hearings to examine perspectives from the field, focusing on farmer and rancher views on the agricultural economy. February the 13th, 10 o'clock a.m., hearings to examine the nomination of Linda McMahon of Connecticut to be Secretary of Education. February the 13th, 10 o'clock a.m., business meeting to continue to mark up the concurrent resolution on the budget for fiscal year 2025. February the 13th, 10 o'clock a.m., business meeting to consider an original resolution authorizing expenditures by the committee during the 119th Congress, to be immediately followed by a hearing to examine eliminating waste by the foreign aid bureaucracy. February the 13th, 10:30 a.m., hearings to examine Syria policy after Assad. And those are our committee meetings for this coming week. We're going to be right back and we're going to dive into these bills. Be right back. Reparations is a fight that we're going to have to be boots on the ground. We have to be everywhere and somewhere all the time. It's on the website now. The GoFundMe is on the website to raise money to get a little RV in order to stay on the road in this fight for reparations. All right, let's dive into these bills. Senate Bill 131. Senate Bill 131 is a bill to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to create a tax credit for nurse preceptors. And I wanted to look that up because I wasn't sure what a nurse preceptor was. Again, this is Keeping Up with Congress, and we are learning together. A nurse preceptor is a licensed, experienced nurse who helps nurses develop their skills and transition into independent practice. Preceptors are role models who provide guidance and support to student nurses, new graduates, and newly employed nurses. So a nurse preceptor is like a mentor. Keeping Up with Congress, y'all. Senate Bill 131. Senate Bill 132. Senate Bill 132 is a bill to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to modify the rules for postponing certain deadlines by reason of disaster. And that's Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, Democrat out of Nevada. Senate Bill 133. Senate Bill 133 is a bill to modify the Fire Management Assistance Cost Share, introduced by Senator Alex Padilla, Democrat out of the state of California. It's a bill to modify the Fire Management Assistance Cost Share. I wasn't sure what the Fire Management Assistance Cost Share was, so I looked that up as well. It says, according to FEMA, the Fire Management Assistance Grant, FMAG program, offers a 75% federal cost share for eligible firefighting costs, meaning the state or eligible entity is responsible for the remaining 25% of the cost involved in managing a fire incident. This is considered the cost share for the program. So that is Senate Bill 133, a bill to modify the Fire Management Assistance Cost Share, Senator Alex Padilla, Democrat out of California. Senate Bill 134. Senate Bill 134 is a bill to place limitations on accepting positions from the competitive service. That's Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat out of the state of Virginia. I didn't know what the competitive service was, so I looked that one up too. A lot of research today, y'all. A bill to place limitations on accepting positions from the competitive service would be a piece of legislation aiming to restrict the number of government jobs that are exempt from the standard competitive hiring process, essentially making it harder for agencies to hire individuals without going through a merit-based selection process based on qualifications and examinations, thus promoting greater transparency and fairness in federal employment. So that's a bill to place limitations on accepting positions from the competitive service. Senate Bill 134, Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat out of Virginia. Senate Bill 135. Senate Bill 135 is a bill to amend Title V, United States Code, to provide for special base rates of pay for wildland fires. This is again Senator Alex Padilla, Democrat out of California. Senate Bill 136. Senate Bill 136 is a bill to lift the trade embargo on Cuba. Senate Bill 136. This is Senator Ron Wyden. Senator Ron Wyden is a Democrat out of the state of Oregon, to lift trade embargo on Cuba. Senate Bill 137. Senate Bill 137 is a bill to amend Title 41 United States Code to prohibit the federal government from entering into contracts with an entity that discriminates against firearm or ammunition industries. This is Senator Steve Daines. Steve Daines is a Republican out of the state of Montana. Senate Bill 138. Senate Bill 138 is a bill to require each enterprise to include on the Uniform Residential Loan application a disclaimer to increase awareness of the direct and guaranteed home loan programs of the Department of Veteran Affairs. This is Senator Tim Sheehy, Republican out of the state of Montana. Senate Bill 138. And I looked that one up as well. And it says, again, want to increase awareness of the direct and guaranteed home loan programs of the Department of Veterans Affairs. So the Department of Veterans Affairs, which is the VA, offers direct and guaranteed loans to help veterans, service members, and surviving spouses buy, build, or refinance a home. So they want to make sure that there's more awareness on that uniform residential loan application. Again, Senate Bill 138. Senate Bill 139. Senate Bill 139 is a bill to amend the Public Health Service Act to reauthorize and extend the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders Prevention and Services Program. So I looked more into the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders Prevention Program so we could have some understanding. Again, this is keeping up with Congress, and we are learning together. So this program, this fetal alcohol spectrum, this says, here's some background. It says the prenatal alcohol exposure is a leading preventable cause of birth defects and neurodevelopmental defects in the United States. It can cause a range of intellectual and behavioral problems, which appear at any time during childhood and last a lifetime. It says fetal alcohol spectrum disorders is an umbrella term for a range of physical, cognitive, and behavioral disorders caused by prenatal alcohol exposure. It says recent prevalence studies estimate that approximately 1 to 5% of U.S. first grade children have fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. Wow, 1 to 5% of our babies in first grade have this disorder. Wow. So I thought that was quite interesting. Again, keeping up with Congress, and we are learning together. So that was Senate Bill 139. Senate Bill 140. Senate Bill 140 is a bill to address the forest health crisis on the national forest system and public lands. This is introduced by Senator John Barrasso. Senator John Barrasso, senator out of Wyoming, Republican out of the state of Wyoming. Senate Bill 141. Senate Bill 141 is a bill to identify and address barriers to coverage of remote physiologic devices under state Medicaid programs to improve maternal and child health outcomes for pregnant and postpartum women. This is introduced by Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican out of the state of Louisiana. It addresses barriers to coverage of remote physiologic devices, and I didn't know what those were, so I wanted to look that up as well. These remote physiologic devices, also known as remote patient monitoring devices, are digital tools that collect and transmit data about a patient's health. It says this data helps healthcare providers monitor patients outside of a traditional care setting. So these are monitoring devices. So this will give state Medicaid programs to the ability to utilize those devices. Yes. Senate Bill 142. Senate Bill 142 is a bill to award a Congressional Gold Medal to wildland firefighters in recognition of their strength, resiliency, sacrifice, and service to protect the forests, grasslands, and communities of the United States. Senator John Barrasso. John Barrasso, he's a Republican out of the state of Wyoming. Senate Bill 143. Senate Bill 143 is a bill to amend the Clean Air Act to repeal the natural gas tax. So this is Senator Ted Cruz, Republican out of the state of Texas. Senate Bill 144. Senate Bill 144 is a bill to amend the Farmland Security and Rural Investment Act of 2022 with respect to the definition of biofuels and sustainable aviation fuel. So we're looking at clean energy here. This is Senator Jerry Moran, Republican out of the state of Kansas. Let's see, I wanted to look into the Farm Security and Rural Investment Act of 2002, also known as the 2002 Farm Bill, includes 10 titles addressing a great variety of issues related to agriculture, ecology, energy, trade, and nutrition. It says this act has been superseded by the 2007 U.S. Farm Bill. Senate Bill 144. Senate Bill 145, Senate Bill 145 is a bill to require the redesignation of Ansar Allah as a foreign terrorist organization. Senator James Reich, Republican out of Idaho. Senate Bill 146, Senate Bill 146 is a bill to require covered platforms to remove non-consensual intimate visual depictions. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican out of Texas, had to look that one up because I wasn't sure what this non-consensual intimate visual depictions were, but I found something that was last session. There was no information this session thus far, but I found something last session that maybe this is something they're building upon. So this is December 3rd of 2024. It's called the Take It Down Act, criminalizes the publication of fake explicit images and requires websites to remove them. It says the U.S. Senate Commerce Committee ranking member Ted Cruz's Republican out of Texas, bipartisan legislation, the Take It Down Act, today passed the Senate unanimously and now moves to the House for consideration. The Take It Down Act, which Senator Cruz introduced with Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat out of Minnesota, would criminalize the publication of non-consensual intimate imagery, NCII, including AI-generated NCII, commonly referred to as deep fake revenge pornography, and require social media and similar websites to have in place procedures to remove such content within 48 hours notice from a victim. The Take It Down Act, bipartisan legislation, so they do know how to reach across the aisle. Senator Ted Cruz introduced, again, Senate Bill 146, a bill to require covered platforms to remove non-consensual intimate visual depictions. So it looks like he's building upon what he's already done. Senate Bill 147. Senate Bill 147 is a bill to direct the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency to provide grants to air pollution control agencies to implement a cleaner airspace program, introduced by Senator Michael Bennet, Senator out of Colorado, Democrat out of Colorado. Senate Bill 148. Senate Bill 148 is a bill to prohibit the use of non-monetized or unqualified factors for regulatory analysis. A bill to prohibit the use of non-monetized or unqualified factors for regulatory analysis. Senator Joni Ernst, Republican out of Iowa. And of course, I didn't know what that was either. Just to read it, we don't know what it is, but I wasn't able to find any specific information, but I did find the actual bill. So we can just read from the findings. It said, Congress finds that agencies must prioritize tangible, immediately quantifiable monetary benefits in their decision-making processes, ensuring regulatory action yield clear and measurable financial benefits to the public and private sector while minimizing unnecessary regulatory cost and burden. So it's called the Red Tape Act. So yeah, regulations evaluated to determine the anticipated price and effect, or the Red Tape Act. Yeah, gets deep, y'all. Gets deep. That was Senate Bill 148. Senate Bill 149. Senate Bill 149 is a bill to require the Secretary of Homeland Security to take into custody aliens who have been charged in the United States with theft. This is Senator John Cornyn, Republican out of the state of Texas. Senate Bill 150, and our last one for the day, Senate Bill 150 is a bill to require the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Secretary of State to implement a strategy to combat the efforts of transnational criminal organizations to recruit individuals in the United States via social media platforms and other online services, and assesses their use of such platforms and services for illicit activities. Yeah, cracking down. Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat out of the state of Arizona. And again, this is Keeping Up with Congress, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And I try to make it on time, y'all, but just know there's a lot going on with the advocacy efforts all around the clock. I'm moving and making sure we're in the know. Again, I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. We're here to learn together. What we don't know, we're going to figure out. We're going to keep our eyes on Congress. We're going to get to know these legislators. They need to know that we know who they are. And they need to know that we know how they're moving so that we can hold them accountable. This is not a time for any of us to go to sleep. This is not a time for us to not pay attention to every piece of policy coming out of Washington, every piece of policy that we can in our state legislature. We have to keep an eye on Congress, and we have to keep an eye on our state legislature. Politics has changed. The game has changed. This time it becomes an opportunity, but we got to seize the moment and we got to stay in the know. So I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Go to the website, donate, do what you can. $5 a month, $20 a month. Do something to make sure that we can continue to do this and I can continue to bring you this information. This is a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of research, a lot of work involved, but I'm committed to keeping up with Congress and keeping us informed. So help me, help us. See you tomorrow. Reparations is a fight that we're going to have to be boots on the ground. We have to be everywhere and somewhere all the time. It's on the website now. The GoFundMe is on the website to raise money to get a little RV in order to stay on the road in this fight for reparations. Reparations is a fight that we're going to have to be boots on the ground. We have to be everywhere and somewhere all the time. It's on the website now. The GoFundMe is on the website to raise money to get a little RV in order to stay on the road in this fight for reparations.